Hello, all again. Another Sunday, another week, another historic best of three video, but this time with a different intro. A week's been a long time in magic terms, so in particular, in the last week, we've had foundations drop. Um, I'd been saving quite a bit of gold, buying little bits of uh, accessories backwards and forwards, but I always knew when I heard about foundations coming out that it might finally be a set that I'd be interested in investing quite a bit of cash in, which of course I did. So um, 90 packs, i.e., 90,000 gold later, um, I ended up with, as you might imagine, quite a decent collection of foundations cards. And the obvious question is what to do with them. And of course, deck building. I put in the Discord that I'd come across. Um, I have quite a bit of stuff in storage. When I was like moving, there was too much stuff, and a lot of my magic stuff that at least survived the fire, which was obviously that was some time ago, but a lot of that stuff was in the garage, so it wasn't in the main property. That didn't really get impacted, but of course it's been in storage. I mean, there wasn't really enough room for it in the home, so we've got a local lockup. It's reasonably expensive, but for a decent amount of storage, you just sort of kind of pay monthly to lock stuff away, and that's kind of helped us out because we still got quite a bit in there. When we had the house purchase, we were renting, and no surprise because he's been about 4.5 years renting. We'd built up quite a bit of stuff, so when we did the move, there was quite a lot of stuff to move, and my intention for the new place was not to put all the same old crap, for the want of a better word, into the new place. But that was a difficult thing because I have quite a lot of collectibles that were, including a big comic collection. And I'm talking about some of them are pretty special and probably worth quite a bit. But of course, I need to get around ultimately what to do with them. But they've got to be looked at first. And of course, I've got quite a healthy collection of Magic the Gathering cards, which again, some from a collecting point of view hold on to. But yeah, coming back to having cracked these packs, 90 odd packs, with a decent collection, the obvious question was then to kind of build and that. But where I'm doing historic and that, I don't really, as much as I can obviously use any card in historic, I only wanted to make, which I've done for this next recording, I've used a few of the new cards, really just to change what I was planning to do, but I want to stick to the plan and record what I'd advertised last week, which is one thing that historic and standard, I suppose, is also got the same issue, but I guess anywhere really when you're playing Magic, has the issue of just nonsense that goes on that, it's people talk about, if you haven't got a turn two play, you're dead in the water. It's not quite as bad as that, but it can sometimes feel like that. So and looking through, not that I read all of it, looking through this Magic the Gathering, the official strategy guide from way back when, back to edition 5, I think I said in the Discord channel and NGA. Yeah, so long story short, I built and done something that I never thought I'd ever go back to, but of course having built a deck, and of course it's a standard deck, because I wanted to predominantly, in fact I think the deck is, I appreciate most of the decks you see do a better job of building, because they will use the right cards, and I think I have done actually with my build. The purist of me just wanted to build a foundations deck. I played with that for a bit. It was okay. I think I'd had a good collection of cards, and just the usual way of building, such as using the deck builder to find out what I had and looked at kind of what made sense. Just what I found useful in the build was to use the three of, where you've got three of a copy or four of a copy, and then of course focus on rares, etc. and that. So long story short, I came up with a deck that I started playing, and I thought, well, the only way I'm going to find out if it's any good if I put it in standard. Not that I really wanted to go back to playing standard, but it's probably the best way to check that the deck's any good. So that's what I've been doing. I'm still going to run this historic best of the one in a minute, but I wanted this little intro to be a little bit different this time, because I never thought I'd come back to doing standard, but surprisingly I've ended up with a deck, again my own build, most of these are, but long story short, it's doing pretty well. At least it's done well enough to get me to gold tier 4, and of course those of you who do play around with standard, I was starting from the rock bottom since I haven't touched it for ages and just left it behind, but so I've started playing that again, and the deck in essence is doing pretty well, but it's obviously a standard deck. It's not historic best of 3, so I'm not going to really feature any videos playing it, because there's enough good content out with people building standard decks and good decks, etc. But I just wanted this little intro, and that it comes back to the whole discussion generally. Is how can you keep playing Magic and still enjoy it? And of course, this is me trying to get back to a little bit more enjoyment. I am enjoying creating the historic best of 3 videos, and as I say, I've got a nice deck to show you, and we'll see how it gets on with that. But the deck, I will get into and then show you the build. It will make it more sensible, but the deck that you're going to see that I'm playing, and we'll see how it gets on. And remember, the format is a standard to have 2 best of 3 matches to see how the deck does. So I will show you when we get to the intro, before we get into it, rather than doing it at the end, which maybe I've done in the past. It's probably better to have the deck shown up front, and I can talk about, before I get into that with this intro, the main reason for building it was just to try to build something that got round the nonsense, if that makes sense. So I'll end this intro now, and we can get the main video lined up. But I will talk about, and hopefully showing the deck at least before we get into the play, you can understand. This deck was born out of playing a lot of best of 3, and seeing the sort of stuff you come up against, and the obvious culprits, which in some ways makes it difficult to enjoy Magic sometimes. So I think when I say that, people that have played the game long enough, particularly in Arena, will know what I mean. So no further explanations needed, really. But the intention of this next historic best of 3 deck was try to, my reaction, for the want of a better word, to some of the stuff that was going on. So we'll see how that goes. But as you can see here, gold tier 4, it's in early days and that, but it was nice to build a principally foundations deck that managed to get to gold anyway as a starting point. Probably most of it done today. I'd started tweaking the deck yesterday, and there's been a few changes. But I think goes back to the building again. With when I had the Magic the Gathering official strategy guide about tips for, and I haven't gone through that and read it cover to cover. I probably never did, even when I had it, or dipped into it backwards and forwards. But okay, so without further ado, let's get on with the next best of 3 match, and I'll talk about the deck, and I'll showcase the deck before we get started. See you soon. So the deck, aptly named, what do I call it? Let's have a look at it. Not sure what's going on here. Bear with me. It helps if I'm in arena, I guess. Yeah, the deck, you'll see I had 2. Historic Nonsense was the first one I created, but the initial, I won't go into the build for that because it wasn't quite working out. This is the second one that I built, so let's look at the deck before we get started with the match. So if I go to edit the deck, so the main idea, as you can see here, just go through the curve slowly, really is just the biggest issue that I was facing with historic decks are just some of the nonsense that goes on, just, and a lot of that are decks that are put together with, combos and cards that just in combination and curving out, etc., etc. You know the story. So, and I was also facing some of the decks I was facing, which used to piss me off, were decks that focused on hand hate, so casting a lot of hand hate. So basically, you're getting rid of a lot of the cards out of your hand before you can get started. So my motto was, if you can't beat them, join them. So as much as I've always hated to play against mill, I would never build, I wouldn't know how to build a turbo mill deck, for example, because I think, it's just, my motto used to be, with you knew you were facing a mill deck, the typical turn 1 crab with 1 or 2 crabs, and to go from there, just why bother? It just not very enjoyable to play against, and ultimately, particularly with some of the cards that are there, you may as well just quit, get out, do something better. So and then there was a time where I thought, well, if I'm building a historic best of 3 deck, then I should at least play against anything, so yeah, it can be a bit upsetting, but they are beatable. But things have got to fall, as usual with Magic, things have got to fall the right way. So this is the intention of putting this sort of deck together. So you see there's quite a lot of hand hate, and I need to be consistent with that. So it's Devour Intellect, target opponent discards a card. I didn't get into the treasury mechanics, so I'm not using the synergy necessarily that so I could choose that. It was just really just for the cheap 1 mana, and then typical culprits, sorcery of Thoughtseize. This continues Virus Beetle, 3 of, and again I found I faced this quite a lot of play, Bandit's Talent, and this discard 2 cards and then obviously leveling it up. So again, a full play set of those, that seemed decent. Mind Drain, target opponent, I think you get the idea by now. So the question for the rest of the deck, what does the rest of the deck try and do to try and get there or survive at least? The rest of the deck really is built around removal, and some interesting, when I was thinking about how do you stay alive long enough, is, you know, particularly the mono red nonsense that goes on, or even life gain with mono white can be an issue as well. So and there are fast decks again with Boros, can be pretty fast. So how do we survive in the meantime? So we obviously need board wipes, mass board wipes. I'm using Ravnik XL all multicolored permanents. It's, you know, necessarily playing, it might be mono red, for example, it wouldn't be any good for, but mono red is not something you see all the time. You know, people play different decks, so if they're focusing on multicolors, this would XL all multicolored permanents could be pretty good, pretty decent. And then the obvious candidates for the creature stuff: destroy creatures, shatter the sky likewise. As far as keeping life viable, how was the plan for that? So what I decided is it's pretty handy, again, because some of these, it depends what type of deck. I mean, you can run in, particularly now with foundations deck that have removal. I mean, that's been around for a while, you know, the ossification land, you know, there's a lot of kind of tricks that are cheap removal for artifacts, and I've kind of relied on that myself with my mono blue having this, you know, a better disperse, I think, just be able to return. That's tends to be a temporary solution rather than just killing it stone dead. So long story short, the idea of Cosmos Elixir and having the full playset, as you can see, is to, if I'm getting to that and getting it out, then just having the gaining 2 life and the scry ability becomes useful as well to get to the right card. So that's the idea of keeping our life up. When I come on to the creatures, again, for 5 mana, pretty decent 6/6, pay 2 life. So if I'm gaining life anyway, it seems that this synergizes quite well, because hopefully my life is being kept up by the elixir, and then I can use that to bring out Doom Whisperer, and where the Surveil 2 is very useful, of course, to get the right cards. With foundations, for the same mana, flying Death Touch, when an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Damage causes loss of life. So, although I had a pair of Doom Whisperers, as a nod to foundations when I saw this, and of course it's another mythic, I thought, yeah, I'll swap out one of the Doom Whisperers for a Bloodthirsty Conqueror. So, and that's been working quite well. Again, back to the removal, Doomscar. The reason I like Doomscar is a foretell on it, for 2 white. We'll come to the mana in a minute with the deck. And the other stalwart for, you know, late game, having enough mana. You used to get Ugin matches all the time and that, and of course people have stopped playing it. There's probably alternatives or faster way of doing things or whatever, but occasionally even I've seen somebody play Ugin, and of course Ugin would be quite good, even though he's expensive to come out. If I'm surviving to that point in time, being able to sort of another board wipe effectively, exile and permanents of value X, there's 1 or more colours. And then the final, again, so this deck is built to basically just destroy the opponent's hand at the beginning, try and get the life gain going to sort of keep things up, and then board wipes, and then Avacyn is pretty much like a late game finisher. So the combination of Ugin and Avacyn at the top end is the intention of getting to the win, if that makes sense. So that's the deck. From a sideboard point of view, my sideboard cards, a lot of the sideboard was built around initially it was going to be just shoring up destruction, like, you know, disenchants galore, light of hope doing a similar job. I had more of this, but then I thought I should put some other cards that might be quite useful. I remember the life gain, again, Lyra now being in Foundations, so another addition from Foundations, and Arbiter of Woe, another Foundations card. Flying, this creature, opponent discards a card, loses 2 life, you gain a card and gain 2 life. So there's life gain going on. So the life gain theme on these cards, again, it's quite top end in that, but as I said, the intention of the deck is to survive long enough. So sideboarding in some of these, I can only put them in and see how it's going to go. Or the Tragic Banshee. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've got some options, like the 2 modes of light and hope, again keeping life high or destroying target enchantments. That's the basis of the deck. So let's get into these 2 best of 3 matches and we'll see how it goes. So we've got best of 3 historic, using this historic nonsense deck. Let's get into the play. Hope you're all well, of course. Discord's always a bit quiet. I mean, there's some noise sort of picks up on that, but obviously with Foundations and some of the other news, I think we're going to be facing just a host of nonsense with the other sets coming, you know, the Marvel and all the rest of it. Not from Magic and that, so as I found, I was happier as a player that we had. I should have pointed out, I've got some man lands in here. They can be quite useful early on, particularly if you're playing against different types of decks. So I've got decent mana here, and I've got some of my removal targets. So this is a keep. Let's see who we're facing against. Let's bring out the Eye Tyrants, and then it just gets me the mana. So I can go straight with a Thoughtseize out the bat, just to see what we're up against. Always nice to know what I might need to be getting rid of. Oh, this looks to be one of the, this is a typical, Kiora can be a pain in that, so I will get rid of that for starters. These types of decks tend to want to ramp up. Let's get the Bandit talent first of them rolling. So another 2 cards out the hand. I've got my removal in terms of Shatter the Sky lined up. Got to get to the mana, but normally hopefully that's going to be okay. And then I've got a Mind Drain, so yeah, you can see the idea of the deck is to really just make it difficult to empty people's hands, so particularly these combo decks that are doing all sorts of stuff. And here comes the invasion. Just fine. This is doing a good job of emptying the opponent's hand, which is the intention of doing this early, and then I'm using the man lands.
Why do I love Krakens?
because this is where the nonsense starts. This is a typical nonsense deck. So this is exactly the type of deck that I built this type of deck for. As I said, just to get rid of some of the nonsense. Let's see. So we're going with Mind Drain.
Nature flows with vigor.
So we can blow that away. Pick these up. And I've got a backup Shatter the Sky. Okay, more ramp going on, as I said, with my removal if it's creature based. Isn't always, of course. Kiora herself can be a pain in the backside, but there goes. We'll see.
To make a splash.
Yeah, this is exactly the type of deck that I built this particular deck to cater for. It's interesting, I'm facing it so you can see all the reason for the nonsense in the first place was. So you can go right.
The ocean surges, life thrives.
I've not as yet had to worry about life, just because I'm controlling that. So again, I will foretell that. Just insurance, and because it's cheap, again, you can go into the hand again for the opponent. And we've got our two board wipes lined up.
Drop ripples and grows.
The more the better. There's one down. So, good Doomscar time. Bye bye.
Let's get moving.
Storm's Festival. One card that I hate that they printed. Let's see how it deals with this. Let's find out what's coming up as we definitely need some life gain. Mind drain. Oh. I think I prefer to have that one first. The more the merrier. The more the merrier. These decks, these matches tend to last some time as well. May as well take the planeswalker out.
To the depths. Go into the hand. Is there anything left in there? And then we'll attack. Okay. Probably should have shattered. That was a mistake. Ravnik at War is going to be useful. What else? Our life gain with the elixir didn't work out, but we'll see. Sorry, Ravnik at War going in. Tragic Banshee, Seeker's Folly. Not really. Pilfer. Yes, so let's try and get into their deck much earlier. So we're at 65. So I don't think we're going to get to these two. What else to come out? 63. Tiny Bones. And. Yeah. Take that. And. I'm going to leave the Whisperer in really if I can. Maybe drop a trowel. Done. Okay. Let's see how this goes. I'll play first. That's decent enough. I've got the multicolour permanents, which is good. Beat 7. Mana's good. So let's build some insurance first. Go for the Doomskull. Now we do have the elixir, which is useful. So let's foretell this. Insurance, early insurance. What else do we have? We're down to 4 cards, so it's interesting. Interesting indeed. You need a shatter rather than and then I'll get the Cosmos out. find something better. Now, I'll try this, but I don't think it's going to work. That didn't work out. On to the second. That type of deck was particularly what this was built for, so unfortunately it didn't do the job there, but it has been successful. Again, that's against that type of deck in previous matches. So let's line up the second one and see if we have any better luck. Certainly at least you get an idea of what the deck's supposed to do. But going up against effectively a ramp deck with big creatures, typical green, can be difficult, of course. That works now. In the early days, so slot 3s again. At least we know what type of deck we're playing against. Oh, okay. Should be a better matchup for us, probably. Hopefully. Time will tell. So, take him. Let's get our white on the go and then line up, because this is pretty much a creature deck. Tell. And then we'll go into the hand. We need our second white, of course, so I hope to draw that. But it's early days. Very early days. Oh, Avison. She's some way off. She is some way off. Gets 2 cards out of her hand. Thins the hand out quite nicely. Which means we should survive long enough for the good stuff. I do need my white, though, to be fair, in fairness. There's enough on the deck. Now this will stem the bleeding for a bit. I'd like to get more hand hate. Try and keep it. That's fine. Okay. Right, so stem some of this damage until we have our board wipe online, which is not going to happen. Mind you, Grim Whisper. Decent way to try and stem the bleed. No death touch obviously, but it's fine. Okay, bringing stuff back from the graveyard to keep the hand full. Decent. Here comes the pain. Okay, so pass. Pass. Oh, not going to be our week, I don't think. Yeah, try and go through the same thought process. We need to empty the hand a lot quicker if we can. 65. So take out this big stuff. Avison. Doom Whisperer. We still got to have, with the manlands, we still got to have enough to get the job done to get them dead, but it's so as much as I hate to do this, they can both go. I'm actually thinking about it. So what do we put? What else is going to be useful? Put that shatter back. Right, so we're 60 again. Let's go. I need to be, it's all going to be on the mulligan here. It's all going to be on the mulligan. I will, I think I'm going to draw first actually. Okay. It's looking a bit better. No black. No, very nice. No black, which is not great. But this should have been a mulligan maybe. With no black. To ride the Lexus. So annoying. This is so annoying. Get a removal. Oh, in the nick of time. In the nick of time. How can she pay X? 1? It's not really that much. Okay. Champion. Yeah, still in the hand. course, I don't think this is going to be enough. And we don't bloody need that land. Game. Tough one, no wins this week. No, it's dark. Just when I start enjoying standard, historic throws me a curveball. That was disappointing, but as I said, there's no point in showcasing different decks to understand what best of 3 historic can look like. Again, I'll need to play back, but as usual, it's interesting to play back and see if there's things I could have done differently to save myself, but I suspect in this particular series of matchups, possibly because the deck is not quick enough, but as I said, I have built it and I've had some good success with it, and I say it was specifically built particularly to deal with the first type of deck. They still show up and they're still annoying, but so I will, in my normal best of 3s when I'm playing that rather than recording, I'll probably still use that historic nonsense deck because it can deal with a lot of stuff. Just wasn't so lucky today. Thanks for watching again. I'll do the outro as usual, and I'll just talk about in general where Magic's going and what my journey might look like now that I'm back into standard for a bit. Thanks for watching, Squidder Dragon. So I think this is coming up for week 5 or 6 doing these recordings. I'm not sure because I took a break. Yeah, there were different things going on and I didn't get into it, so I kind of missed a week or two, and then I got back into recording. This is the intention, you know. It's difficult to understand. Got to applaud people who have channels that create daily content, because, you know, obviously for them, they've got decent enough channels. It's a full-time job. It's what they do as a day job, and of course I've got a different day job, but doing these at the weekend is something I enjoy. I hope you enjoy them too. I'll keep them coming as it goes, and I'll keep you informed of probably in the Discord with how the journey on the standard grinding is going. So yeah, I'll keep at that because I think I've got a decent enough deck for it. At least it's got me to gold, so let's see how far it can get me. That's it for all. Hope everyone's well as usual. Again, I'm not seeing that much in the way of comments in the Discord. Not sure. People are probably settling into what Foundations is doing, so I think Foundations is a good set. So I'll look at building again. So I mean, this is only one deck I built, and of course with the 90 packs I've opened, there's loads of other decks kind of out there. I mean, it's still be interesting to play against, because you're probably all seeing there are some
foundation builds, which you'd expect. I'm curious he have foundation as a allegedly beginner's deck, so I'm never really sure how, if you're a completely new player coming into Magic now, do Wizards think that they're going to be coming in to local game stores and buying in paper? I don't know what their strategy is. So, and if you go into Arena, a lot of people I know are getting fed up with the kind of nonsense that goes on in Arena. I mean, even it was a passing comment really, but Covert Go Blue, when he joined the Shuffle Up and Play session, he just made a casual comment, I think somewhere towards the end of it, saying that he wasn't necessarily enjoying. I know he does a lot of good content in Arena, but I suspect as an ardent Magic the Gathering player, he's not really enjoying Arena as much as he used to, and he's probably getting a bit frustrated, like most of us are, with some of the stuff that's going on. So still difficult to know why do we keep playing this damn game, but there you go. While it remains, we'll keep plugging away. Thanks for watching again, everyone, and I haven't really lined up next week. I've not been working anything. The only deck I've really worked on is a standard deck, but that's not suitable for best of three anyway. So I do have some other best of three decks that I will get around to, i.e. still running through Until You've Seen, which there's a bit of time to go yet until you've seen all the best of three decks, the ones that I'd already previously built and don't run a lot of those. So one thing the recording is probably doing is because I want to make it a different best of three deck just for variety, and again the main reason for doing the series in the first place was just to show you what sort of stuff goes on in best of three. I mean, we keep talking about it, and I know what I just find interesting is that maybe for sort of some of the stuff that you're seeing in these videos as to why people are just not interested in entertaining best of three anymore, in this, well, historic best of three at least. There was obviously no appetite for any sort of competitive, and I appreciate the comments that nobody would, if they were going to participate, they'd want to craft decks, and nobody wants to spend wildcards on historic or a format that they're not going to be taking part in, so that's understandable. Anyway, that's it for this week. Tune in next week. As I said, I can't really tell you. I think I have a probably the next one I will do from memory. I know at least I've got it because it was a really fun deck to run at the best of times back in the day. Is my historic it's all historic, but it was my historic historic adventure deck, I think was the word I was struggling for. Yeah, I've got a decent historic deck, which I'll dig out, and then there are some other decks hanging about, but let me build out either historic. It'll either be a historic Boris aggro or historic adventures. Sorry, that's the one I was struggling with what it was again. I think it's a Gruul adventure deck. So yeah, Gruul adventure deck will be the next best of three video next week. Take care for now, Dave Squidder Dragon.